We've heard the terms sustainability, net zero, green today, but not the reasons why we need to be more sustainable and have net zero targets. So I'm going to start, seeing it's nearly the end of the day, to make sure that you're all awake. I'm going to start with a question, okay? So what is climate change? Please log on. You've got 10 seconds. So option one is climate change refers to short-term changes in the atmosphere. Climate change, for number two, refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns, or hopefully you won't opt for this one, but it's not real, okay? Let's see the results. Okay. 9% change is not real. Climate change isn't real. Oh, didn't know Donald Trump was in the room. But look, the main percent, 86, you're right, it's long-term shifts. So these can be natural, okay? They've happened throughout time, okay? With volcanic eruptions, different patterns in the sun. Human intervention since the 1800s have accelerated climate change, through the burning of oil, gas, and we need to move away from that, okay? So this is why it's so important to have net zero, okay? So DPD have a net zero ambition, and why do we have that? One, important to ensure that sustainability is high on the agenda. It's really important to our customers. We sit in their scope 3 emissions because we're delivering parcels on their behalf. They have their own net zero targets. Consumers are becoming more aware of the impact of their purchases and how it gets to the door, as well as it being manufactured. But most of all, it's the moral and ethical responsibility of the business to do that. We all share the same address. We live on planet Earth, and it's so important that we negate our impact on the climate. This is a slide from the IPCC report. It shows that obviously from the early 1900s through to the 2020, we've seen an increase in temperature, but it also shows how it's going to continue if we don't do anything, okay? It's a stark reminder that if we don't do anything, we actually won't have logistics businesses to, run around, move stuff. We'll have issues with agriculture, production, economic impact, and then ultimately we won't have businesses to operate. So it is so important that you go away today, and if you haven't started on that journey, try and make change throughout your business, decarbonize. It is so important, okay? So DPD, as part of GeoPost Group, we have a fully validated science-based target initiative, net zero target of 2040, okay? And along with that, we have a near-term target. So by the end of this decade, 2030, we need to reduce our emissions by 43%, okay? And 100 by 2040. That's including all scope emissions, okay? And to help us along the way, what we've done is created a carbon budget, much like a financial budget. Every year from now until 2030 for our near term and 2040 for net zero, we will create a budget where we have to achieve it, much like a financial budget. That's also been financially incentivized in the business to motivate everyone to ensure that we all share the same goals and decarbonize. So this was introduced in 2023, and we actually reduced emissions by 80,000 tons, okay? It's a huge reduction year on year, 34%, and that was predominantly through electrification of our final mile delivery fleet with electric vehicles, and then the deployment of HVO in our trucks, okay? And this year, we're looking at a 46% reduction on our baseline of 2020, again, through the carbon budget, again, deploying more electric vehicles in the final mile, and continuing with HVO. In 2023, we're 95% of our fleet operating on HVO. This year, we're looking to increase that to 100%, okay? And in our buildings, for years, we've purchased renewables and generated as well. Hub 5, which is in Hinckley down the road, has 7,000 solar panels. Typically in our business, we're using our electricity at night, so solar doesn't really help that, but the excess that isn't being utilised in the day goes back to the grid to support the national grid with renewables, okay? So how are we going to reach net zero? As I said, electrification of our collection and delivery, that's our final mile in DPD, the guys that are driving around with your parcels, knocking on your door, so we need to electrify those vehicles. Low emissions for HGVs, at the moment we've transitioned to HVO, but that is a bridging fuel. It will not get us to net zero. We need to find a different solution, be that battery electric for transport fleet, or, as Tom was mentioning, JCB, it'd be very interesting to see a hydrogen combustion engine put in a truck and being made available. And then again, we need to continue with our renewable energy strategy. So this is a snapshot of where we are and where we need to be with our collection delivery fleet, our final mile. So at the moment, the fleet stands at 33% all electric. So that's in the final mile, that's using all resources. I'm not taking out any third-party resources, that's everyone, 33% of our fleet in the final mile. This year we'll end with 40% of fleet because we're purchasing additional electric vehicles to be deployed. And then to reach our near-term target of 2030, we need 100% EV fleet in the final mile. There will be some routes that are just not capable and will have to be powered on HVO or an alternative, but that is our goal at this time. And this is our journey back in 2019 where we started purchasing electric vehicles and deploying them. They were small, typically the Nissan ENV, limiting the routes that we could deploy those vehicles on. We actually delivered 1.3 million parcels that year. You fast forward to last year with our 33% fleet, all electric, we delivered over 64 million parcels, which is phenomenal. And this year our target is 100 million, which counts for approximately 25% of our entire volume, okay? If you went back 10 years ago, we just, if you'd said that, you would probably be laughed out of the room. But we're really moving at pace throughout this transition. So HVO, like I was saying, it won't get us to net zero, but it has been a phenomenal fuel to transition. It's up to 90% less pollutive than diesel. We have not, and this is probably the easiest transition that I've made as head of sustainability, we've not had to move and change any vehicle. They're the same trucks that are driving around. All we did was drain down the diesel tanks, and the next delivery was HVO. It was very, very simple. Those trucks, they're as efficient as they were with diesel. HVO comes with a price though. It is a large investment. We've spent millions of pounds above what we would have with diesel, but again, it's been very simple. We've not had to change the actual tractor units or the infrastructure. So it's really helped with our reduction of CO2 over the last year. That'll continue, but we need to electrify or hydrogen to get us to net zero. And that's what we will be doing over the next few years. And as I said, energy is so important in this transition. So we have been purchasing renewable energy or electricity for over 7 years. And as we build new sites, solar becomes part of that. We do need to utilize that energy and store it because, as I said, we're sorting all your parcels throughout night, which isn't good for solar. And we need to obviously harness that, de-risk our grid and the reliance on the grid. But at the moment, we're feeding that back, supporting, okay? Look, please visit the website. We have a dedicated website at DPD for all sustainable activity. It has our dashboard. There's also a way to contact us. Please reach out if you have any questions about sustainability and decarbonisation. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah.
I thought everyone would want to.
Don't go anywhere. No, there are questions incoming. How is DPD collaborating with other stakeholders to accelerate the journey to net zero?
I think anyone that's started this transition, it's the fueling of the vehicles now, it's the charging. So we've worked with First Bus, who are electrifying their bus fleet.
Oh, yeah.
Their bus fleet.
The microphone's even getting tired.
And obviously when those buses are out moving people around, those chargers aren't being utilised, so our vans can get in there and take charge. So, and I think especially with infrastructure, half the time it won't be used, so that's where collaboration is really important, sharing that.
Obviously you're going with the green branding. Does that mean when I get a little DPD slip through my front door, is it going to be green if it's been an EV?
So Nikki, if it goes out on an electric vehicle, you'll get a green notification instead of a red DPD notification.
Okay.
And if you use the DPD app,
yes,
and you're getting deliveries through electric, we tally that up, and when you hit 10, we'll plant a tree for you. And that's nothing to do with offsetting or anything like that. It's just a nice social piece.
Nice little reminder. I'm just like staggered that you deliver. Is it 400 million?
100 million this year. We're looking to hit.
But in total,
yes, through the year,
you said 25%. So I'm assuming that's 400.
Yeah.
I mean, mad.
Yeah.
Logistics of that, quite incredible. Olly, thank you so much, and thank you for rounding off today as well, and holding on to the end. A huge round of applause for Olly Craughan.